With the permission of the chair, we now declare the floor open for any questions or queries that they might have. Yes. Here we have, he is the CEO of not one but two very important organizations, so he has a lot of wisdom to share. Yes, please.
Thanks for your explanations. I'm Dr. Arun, an Indian living in South Korea. Some of them know me about the hydrogen bomb man. Yesterday I asked some questions. Okay, so I'm the I usually doesn't like disclosing my job or my responsibility. I'm the Indian representative, Korea Public Diplomacy Association. Yeah, first world, as I said. And I used to support world media about climate change, third world war, and energy, because I'm doing doctorate in hydrogen energy. Confidentially, we support Hyundai. And I want to tell you something. Indian, yeah, please. Indian students are facing much more difficulties when applying for education in Korea. Many of them doesn't know what Korean government is giving kind of a scholarship for the Indian students. I have talked to many students. They are telling, "Oh, really? We don't know this information." So really, I regret for such thing. And one more thing, I think long back, around 20 countries, they made an conclusion. If whoever is trying to enter Korea, they should have the seal from the Ministry of Education. Now what is happening? Even if you get the seal in your provisional certificate, you cannot enter Korea. So that is the rule in India. So once, I think few students from India, they already applied, they paid the fees. Finally, the admission committee said, you are not eligible to enter Korea because you don't have your original degree certificate. This is my question. I will face my defense in June, and I will receive my degree certificate in July. Within 60 days, I am receiving my degree certificate. I can go anywhere. But in India, why 6 months, sir? Why 1 year? Because of that, many people lost the opportunity. Why? Just tell me, it's just matter of A4 sheet, right? Why India is taking this much time and spoiling Indians' life? Let me end up. Since I'm a diplomacy ambassador of India, Indian representative, I have emailed the Korean government. Please don't do it. My country is a little bit slow. Somehow they will.
We need to let more and more countries know about what we have built in India for addressing similar challenges. We have a project called National Academic Depository, under which all academic credentials are digitally issued, are digitally accessible on the DigiLocker of the concerned students, and are digitally verifiable by any third party. So you don't need to have any paper certificates, you don't need to have any seal, and there are countries like Germany and France who have already tied up with this system, and students who are going to study in those countries are getting the academic universities, or even employers are getting the academic credentials verified through the API-based interface that the National Academic Depository provides. And we will take up with Korea. If you have sent an email, I will definitely look into it. And if Korea is not doing it, we will ensure that it's built in. The National Academic Depository is now adopted by more than 1,000 universities. All academic credentials that are being issued to students are being made available there. So it's a complete paperless system. And this system was also being used by employers. Like last year, Karnataka Police was doing recruitment of constables. And earlier, it required submission of class 10th and 12th mark sheets. And verifying the mark sheets that people had submitted, attested, notified by gazetted officer and all, that also used to take almost 9 months. But when we enabled this electronic verification of certificates right from the issuing authority, it could be done in no time. It saved almost 6 months from the recruitment cycle. So your question is well intentioned, but we will try to ensure that we take it with the government of Korea and address that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Can I ask a question. So, deep fakes are a big problem, and the state-of-the-art AI algorithms that exist today can't reliably detect deep fakes. So it has huge potential to cause misinformation, and especially when it interacts with politics, or an influential person saying something they actually didn't. So I was just curious, is there like a global alliance to combat deepfakes, because they're as big a problem in the US as they are in India, if not more? And what is the government thinking on how to tackle deepfakes?
There has been it is a global problem, and at the same time we realize that deepfakes have become kind of more accurate with the coming technology. Otherwise, Photoshop had existed for a very, very long time. And there have been people who have been using similar things for fooling people in multiple ways. So yes, there is a concern, and there is a means wherein, and the advisory that the Indian government issued to all the social media intermediaries and all to the tech platforms, that they need to evolve algorithms and frameworks to detect deep fakes. Just like software can make deep fakes, similarly software can detect deep fakes also. So it's the responsibility of the technology providers, of the social media intermediaries, to come up with such frameworks. The second way to address is that, of course, whenever there is a complaint lodged, there is a verification done and action is taken. Third, the liability of the person who is propagating that has been made clear in the Digital Data Protection Act also. So that would ensure that it will address the concern. But yes, we are working with the global community in trying to create a framework in which can we think of watermarking them, can we think of labeling them. But the consensus globally is yet to arrive. But yes, discussions and interactions are going on with the entire global community on this.
Very good morning. I'm Professor Raghuram. I contribute 3 days in a week in a largest private university in Punjab called a Lovely Professional University. We have about 50,000 students, and only in product design we have about 800 students. And I'm basically an IDC IIT Bombay, way back in 85 batch. I love talking to, I was in Abdul Kalam's team for some time for Eye to the Future, so that inspiration, I've been involved with the students. My question is, I feel that the real AI will grow in India when we start exploring the other three sensories. So far, it is only limited to visual and the audio. The other three sensories, like the touch or taste or smell, we haven't reached at all. The complete AI, I think, maybe whether it comes in my lifetime, very few countries have done research. But we are trying to propagate this other three areas where our country could be a real leader in AI. If I bring in those sensors and things like that. And still certain areas we are not working because we have a huge manpower here rather than using AI. So we still use manpower. My request and a thing to MIT is, how do you help these research institutes and this thing which works on the areas of other three sensories, which has a highest potential to have a global presence in our technology, in India. Whatever the initiatives from your side, I would like to hear.
See, there is a scheme called Vishwasariya PhD scheme, under which research scholars taking up projects similar to what you mentioned, the frontier research areas, something that will become more common 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now. So for the Vishwasariya PhD scheme, all universities across India are eligible for not only scholarships, but institute grant, faculty grant, young fellowship. All those things are there under the Vishwasariya PhD scheme. Over and above, we have a R&D division in Ministry of Electronics and IT, which does take up projects in partnership with academic universities for taking up such research areas. So if there is a proposal, I'm sure the R&D division will be looking into it. In fact, one particular very interesting project which is being funded by Ministry of Electronics, IT and along with CDAC and Amrita Vishwapeetham, they are implementing that, wherein they are trying to work out an AI-based solution wherein the services which I mentioned, the Umang services, the driving license, the ration card, the passport, these services will be available for people who use sign language. wherein like those who are hearing impaired, if they give an input in sign language, the video, the camera of the mobile phone or the computer will understand what the person is asking for and give the information back in sign language. So that kind of project is also being undertaken. So we do have a division in MeitY which takes up such R&D projects, and if there is a proposal from a university which is considered suitable by the committee that is constituted, definitely they can think of funding it, supporting it.
We have started a program for developing the compute facility for the researchers to do research in the field of AI. But the underlying thing is that most of our models, which are being used as a open source models, are being trained on a data which are being collected or annotated by the Western countries. And with LLMs, which have a reinforcement learning by human factors involved into it, they have all the biases and credentials of the Western philosophy and Western culture. So do we have any program in India to develop the LLMs for us, by us, right from the scratch, where the data is ours, the deep tech is for us? Is there any program being initiated at the MeitY, or is there anything, or any guidelines is there for testing of these LLMs and the deep tech technologies products?
Yes, in fact, I fully agree with your question and with what you mentioned. We do need large language models. We do need foundation models in Indian languages. We do need to build LLMs which are trained on Indian data. And for that, what we need to do is to first ensure that sufficient amount of data sets are available. I see Amitabh Nag, who has just joined in. He is the CEO of Bhashini, and he's running a project wherein he's collecting data sets in all Indian languages. For example, when you talk of, data is available, like for example, Wikipedia pages. When you look at Wikipedia, when you look at a language like English, maybe there are millions or maybe more number of pages in English. When you come to Hindi, like the number of Wikipedia pages in Hindi is around 250,000 or something like that. But when you come to a language like Assamese or Bodo or Mathili or Dogri or even Bengali, the number of Wikipedia pages will be 10,000, 5,000 or even lesser. So amount of data sets that are available in Indian languages are very low. Until we address that challenge to build up a large language model, even if you have compute, even if you have the skill set, it will not be possible. So he is implementing a project called Bhasha Dan, in which he's crowdsourcing data sets across the country, in which people can go on. If you go to bhashadan.gov.in, you see there Bolo India, Suno India, Dekho India, Likho India. So that allows you to contribute data sets in your own language. You see something, you speak it, it's recorded, the data set is captured. You see something which is written, if you think the script is not right, you correct it, it's captured, Likho India. Dekho India, you see a vegetable or something, you tell the name of that vegetable or that object in your mother tongue, and that is captured. So once we are able to kind of create this crowdsourcing mechanism, plus kind of get data sets from All India Radio, from Doordarshan, from Bollywood, from every source. In fact, last few weeks, Amitabh has been working on to do translations from Indian languages to, from Hindi to Indian languages at various PM events. In fact, he did that in Varanasi when PM was addressing Tamil Sangam, in which PM spoke in Hindi and people listened in Tamil. The other day it was in Lepakshi temple when PM was doing, and there was Ramayan recital which was happening in Telugu. PM wanted to hear it in Hindi. Then Nasik, the same thing happened, Marathi to Hindi. Then other day in Guruvir temple there was some priest chanting was happening in Malayalam, and they used Bhashini so that he could hear it in Hindi. So when we are able to, and these are rich culture that we have. Our bhajans, our kirtans, our prayers, the way people talk in the rural areas, and language changes. Like even same language, the dialect, how you speak changes. If you are able to collect this rich data sets, the model that he is building will become richer, And that would ensure that the biases that are existing in the Western data sets, and when you're using a Llama or a open source model that has been developed elsewhere, we'll be able to get rid of that. So a lot of work needs to be done in that sector. It requires a lot of effort, it requires a lot of investment, it requires a lot of coming together of different people to ensure that we are able to achieve that objective. It has a value. The DigiLocker, the notification that has been issued by the UID authority clearly says that the document, the Aadhaar card, which is accessible through the DigiLocker app, has as much of value, in fact, a greater value than a printout of an Aadhaar card. Because this information is being fetched straight from the Aadhaar data centers. So that way, the PAN card or the Aadhaar card or the driving license or the academic credentials or your health records, which are available on DigiLocker, are as much of a legal document as anything else. In fact, the printouts can be fudged, but the Aadhaar on the DigiLocker cannot be. And then there is a QR code. Every document has a QR code, and there is a QR code reader on the DigiLocker app. So if you verify the credentials with the QR code app on the DigiLocker, you are able to do that. So it's better than a digitally signed. No, I think there's some gap there because passport application is integrated with the DigiLocker. So in case you are, while filling the passport form, if you give your consent to fetch your data from the DigiLocker, then you don't need to submit a PDF or a printout or any document. Then the information, your date of birth and your address, is directly pulled through APIs from the DigiLocker data interface, and then it's automatically taken. You don't need to submit any digitally signed PDF also. That's right. That's right. You can lock your Aadhaar. If you give consent, it's all consent-based architecture that we have designed. Now we have the Data Protection Act, but since it was not there, we designed everything based on consent. So that might be the issue. But if you can refer it to us offline, I'm sure if we can look into it.
I just have one question. The tools or AIs we discussed, agriculture, education and everything. Maybe in one state we have implemented that, but not in other one. Do we have a repository from where we can look into those type of demos or solutions which can be directly replicated? So that type of solution or that type of repository is available with us? Or
yes, in fact, I should have mentioned in my initial talk, we have a national portal on artificial intelligence, indiaai.gov.in. So indiaai.gov.in lists all such interventions which have been taken up. There is especially a booklet that we came out of, which is also available on that website, 75 at 75. For Amrit Mahotsav last year, 75 years when we were celebrating, we published a kind of document which lists 75 AI solutions which have been implemented across. Plus that portal constantly, whenever new solutions are there, it gives details of that.
so how can we, utilize that? How can we,
It does give details of who has implemented, like something has been implemented by Telangana or Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu or Uttar Pradesh. Details of that is available, and one can reach out to them and kind of connect and try to adopt.
like you talked about Wadhwani AI. So that is kind of firm. I'm assuming maybe we can reach out to them. But when it is government, we may not have a contact detail. How to reach out to them. Who is
So that's also available on the India portal. Wadhwani AI is a not-for-profit entity which is working in the field of AI. We have a MOU with them, and we work with them very closely in kind of not only disseminating information with regard to the solutions that they have built in healthcare, agriculture, and others, but also they conduct training programs in AI for various government departments and states especially, so that their capacities are built up and they get to know what to implement, how to implement, and how to go about it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think we will conclude the question answer session there. Once again, our sincere thanks to Sri Abhishek Singh. May I request Sri Rajkumar Sharma to kindly present a memento to our honored guest as a token of our appreciation and thanks. Thank you, sir, for your presence here today, and thank you for guiding us with all that information.